Hello people, welcome to the channel. UFC 300 is like 3 weeks away, and this is going to be the beginning of my prediction videos for that historic card. I'm going to start by doing the main card other than Bo Nickel and Cody Brundage. I'm going to throw that on my prelims prediction video, and I'm going to do an individual video for this fight, Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira, for Halloween Gaethje, Zhang Weili versus Yang Jianan, and the main event, of course, Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. But in this one, as you see on the screen, I will get more specific as it goes on, but I think Arman Tsarukyan is going to knock out Charles Oliveira, but it could be fight of the night. But I think Arman Tsarukyan is going to show that he is ready to become a title challenger in the lightweight division and try and rematch Islam to get that win back. But let's get into it. First things first, we're going to start with talking about the guy who I think is going to lose the match. We're going to go and talk about Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira. So Charles Oliveira, he's 34-9, former lightweight champion, lost his belt to Islam in 2022, was supposed to rematch him last year, but got injured, got cut on his eye. Now he's back in what I believe was, Dana said, is a #1 contender fight. Now, Charles Oliveira is the best BJJ, the best BJJ practitioner in terms of how it's used in MMA, and I know he's going to have the advantage once it hits the ground in this fight. But I think in terms of the straight-up wrestling, he definitely has a bit of issues against Arman. You know, Arman is, I think he's the only guy, or one of the only guys, to take down Islam in his career. Very strong wrestler, but I think when it comes to being offensive off your back, offensive like just from your guard, or even offensive from like mount or being in someone's guard, I think Charles Oliveira is the most dangerous BJJ guy in the sport, and it's something Arman is definitely going to have to look out for. He is the bigger man, maybe not in terms of muscular strength, but in terms of he's taller, he's longer, he's going to be able to have a little bit of a reach advantage. He does have great power, he has incredible pressure, killer instinct. When he knows a finish is coming, he will chase it. Look at the Beneil Dariush fight. But one of my issues, and it's why I'm choosing it, at the end of the day, I will say this fight, in my opinion, is so close and could go either way, that the reason, my last point there on the bottom, that Charles is shown to be a little bit chinny. He got dropped by Poirier, Gaethje, and Islam. I think that could be the factor here that gives Arman a chance to win this fight. But it also, I'll give Charles this, he has a lot more experience. He is a more experienced fighter, been in the UFC forever, first at featherweight, not too great, came up to lightweight, had a sick run, and he's really only lost, he's only lost recently to Islam, who is the best fighter on the planet. So definitely has a really good chance, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, in terms of what he could do to win this fight. But with him being a little bit chinny, being able to be dropped, being able to be wobbled not really easily, but like it happens most of his fights. Yeah, that's definitely a point to be made about Charles. But let's move on, talk about the younger man, Arman Tsarukyan. He's 21-3, and the dude is built like Michael Chandler, just ripped, massive, and shredded. Likely the stronger fighter. Now, I think Charles probably has the advantage in terms of clinch striking, but I think Arman might be the stronger guy. He has the stronger pure wrestling. He has really, really strong wrestling, and he's just as good, if not better, than Charles in the striking. Both fighters have great power. Both have ability to knock dudes out and rock dudes. Joaquim Silva did rock Arman in their fight. I put he twice, whatever. But he was able to survive, and he came back and finished Joaquim Silva in the third round. So Arman definitely, in my opinion, has the better chin, and that could be just by virtue of taking less damage in his career so far, being the younger man. But Arman hasn't been finished since 2015. That was his second pro fight. He has very, very good grappling awareness and scrambles. Like I said in the top, he's fairly strong in the clinch, but I do think Charles might have the advantage in the clinch in terms of like elbows and knees and stuff. He has vicious elbows and knees in the clinch as Charles Oliveira. But yeah, I think Arman is the more physically strong, powerful, and imposing guy. He is smaller in terms of height and reach, but bigger in terms of muscle mass. And I just think he's probably hungrier than Charles. That's definitely a factor I didn't put on the screen, but he hasn't been champion yet. He's young, up and coming, and this is his first like really big shot at the top. So I think Arman is going to have a fire lit under his ass, and I just think it's going to be a very, very good performance from Arman. So let's move on to the next slide, talking about what I think is actually going to go down in this fight. Yeah, what I see happening in this matchup, I think this fight is very interesting wherever it goes, because Arman got the great wrestling and great positional awareness, but Charles has the best BJJ in the UFC. So I could picture a situation like in the first round of the Islam fight versus Charles, where Islam gets him on his, he gets down to the back. Well, Charles is on his back. Jesus Christ, I can't speak today. So Charles is down in his guard. Islam is trying to be aggressive, but already you see Charles throwing up triangles, throwing up arm bars, just being a distraction on the back and not really making you want to be down in his guard. But I think Arman, similar to Islam, is not really going to shy away from the guard of Charles. I think that he will land a big shot and drop him, and I think even fall him down. But on the feet, I think Arman will get hit a couple of times, but I think he's going to land the bigger shots, cause more damage, and I think he is going to knock down Charles. But I see it going similar to the Beneil fight for Arman, where he's going to rush forward, blitzing forward quickly, maybe throw a fake, maybe even exactly like the Beneil fight, where he throws a knee, misses, connects big, dropping Charles, and I think he's going to rush to the ground and ground and pound Charles while he's still rocked and knock him out. Kind of similar, but instead of with a submission, with a knockout to how Islam rocked Charles, and before he had a second to think about it, he was on top, over fucking arm triangle, past the guard, and Charles topped 17 times. I don't think Arman is going to try to submit him. I think he is an aggressive, just savage ground and I think he's just going to try to knock him out, bouncing his head off the canvas, and I think it's going to happen. Because I just think that a lot of guys would knock down Charles and then let him, lie down with his fucking fingers interlocked behind his head, waving his legs at you, trying to say, come to my guard. And I think Arman's going to go, fuck yeah, let me beat the shit out of you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think is going to go down. But now I want to talk about, just to cover my bases, even though my official prediction is going to be Arman, second round, ground and pound, KO, TKO, whatever you want to call it. But I want to talk about what I think Charles could do in this fight to have success. So of course we know Charles is incredibly dangerous. Like I've said a couple of times in this video, Charles is incredibly dangerous off his back attacking submissions. So I could see, like in the first round of that Islam fight, where Charles is on his back, maybe he gets taken down, tripped or something, maybe even gets dropped, but he's just, fresh enough that it doesn't really set up the finishing sequence that I explained in my last slide. But I could see, Arman trying to be a little too aggressive on the ground early on, get caught in a triangle, or, they get together in the clinch while they're still dry, and and Charles is able to slip around the back and get a rear naked choke or something like that. Like the submission threat is always there and will never leave for Charles Oliveira. I truly believe when he's 45 years old, if he wanted to come back, he can submit a bum, So Charles Oliveira's offensive BJJ, definitely dangerous for him. And he has shown to have power. I mean, knocked out Michael Chandler in their fight. He is bigger, got longer reach. So he could, maybe if he cracks the chin of Arman, it's very possible. And I could also see him doing what got done to him in the Islam fight, where he drops Arman, gets on him, and where he's so slick with the BJJ, before Arman even has a chance to cover up, he has a choke, or he has some sort of joint submission going on. But honestly, I just think in this matchup, the chin and the damage taken is going to be the underlying factor here. I just think that Charles has taken a lot of damage. I think Arman he's quick, he's powerful, technical, and I just think that I think it's Arman's time. I think Charles was champion. He had his chance in October to go back, and man, I'd love to see Charles win. I think everybody, like, unless you're a weirdo, I think everybody is rooting for Charles to win. But I'm in the business of getting predictions right, not emotionally talking about who I think, or who I want to win, sorry. So, my official prediction is going to be Arman by a second round TKO KO. But please, the MMA gods, I don't really care about getting predictions right that much. So, if the MMA gods are listening, let Charles Oliveira take the win, fight Islam again, and lose. Anyways, that's all I got for you in this one. That's my prediction for Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think this one's going to be a very 50-50 fight. So let me know what you agree with, disagree with. Make some points in the comments. I'll try my best to answer as many of you as I can. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe. Help me hit my goal of 500 subscribers by the end of the year. We've been growing like crazy, almost a subscriber a day for the last month, which for me is unprecedented support. So thank you guys so much. Tons of likes and tons of comments and engagement. I really, really appreciate it. And like I say, every time that you guys surprise me with your support, not to say that you guys aren't supportive, it really, really just lights a fire under me and motivates me to do more tape study, get these predictions more accurate, and get these predictions correct more often. And again, just train in my personal life and become a better martial artist. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, go sleep.